The subject of our Stable Talk interview this morning is Justin Snaith. Well, more precisely, I suppose we should say the Snaith Racing team. They're based here at Philippi. You can see the mountains in the background, and we're actually very close to the sea, which is where we were just now. Now, Justin, you use the sea quite frequently for therapeutic reasons, I would imagine.
Without a doubt. In the old days, my father used to work every day on the beach, and it was quite funny. In those days, he never ever had a shin sore 2-year-old. Nowadays, you find just about every 2-year-old goes shin sore. So it definitely has its uses. I use it as any horses that are foot sore, any sort of infection. Also, a horse just needs a break. We go down there. I pretty much try to do it once a week, and I find that there's nothing works better.
It still strikes me, though, that you need enormous organisational abilities. Your mind's got to be ticking over the whole time. You find it exhausting?
I do. I really do. But as I said, you know, you get other trainers like Sean Tarry and Mike DeCock and all the top guys. They're doing the same, and I want to be better than they might be, and that means I've got to raise my game. And that's the best thing. They always say in sport, you know, you're only as good as your opposition. And as they raise the bar, so I will too. I have put my life to these results, and if you're on top of the log, you're a minority, and you have the masses fighting against you so that you don't do well. And now it seems they've got the handicappers on the payroll as well, and all the horses went up in South Africa 6 points except for Port Elizabeth. So every horse I take to PE now is going with a 6-point penalty before they've even started racing. But that's great. We'll just come with better horses. It's as simple as that. And I'll take, instead of taking 2, I'll take 6. You know, no problem. Just keep raising the bar. I just say fine. I just wake up 10 minutes earlier the next day, and I'll show them that keep putting on things that make it harder for me. Lovely. It's more of a challenge, and I'll just come back twice as hard. And that's what I do.
You've got your setup here, you've got your setup in Port Elizabeth, but now I understand that you are looking at the possibility of establishing a small satellite yard on the Highveld, but there are problems.
Yes, but if we don't get into Johannesburg, it's not our loss. It will be Johannesburg's loss. I really believe that. We're tired of pushing. We keep asking, and the response is, well, there's just no boxes. There's such a shortage of boxes in Johannesburg. Even for me to say, right, well, I want to come for the season with 10 horses. Okay, we're going to have to do this and move the, you know, it's not...
Yeah.
Although when the guys in charge will hear this, they'll be like, hey guys, what are we doing? We should be able to facilitate these people. This is crazy.
So in other words, you're saying that this spring season you would actually be happy to be up there and competing?
After Met Day, I will probably go and raid. If I can get boxes, I will go for the season. The money that they offer in Joburg, as in comparison to the rest of the country, we almost feel like they're giving the money away. The horses, you're racing against just horses in Johannesburg, whereas when we go to Durban, we compete against everybody. Yet Joburg's stakes are much higher. They really are giving away money in comparison to the quality of horses. So we'd love to take a bit of that money home and also enjoy what Joburg Racing has to offer.
The last season you've established a couple of benchmarks.
Rare Distinctions on the chase, up along the outside. Bonnard is running on strongly, so is Lunar Emblem, but Bonnard is coming home, best of all, yeah, and Bonnard, what a number 7 for the Snaith, wins it from in second. We had Lunar Emblem, and then came Heavenly Flight.
But Terminator won't go away. He still leads them along the inside. Terminator, Marchand doing all he can. Karski's coming home late. Milord's Throat is looking for a way through down at the rail. But meantime, Terminator's in front, and Terminator goes on to win it. Milord's Throat, desperate and lucky, back in second.
Have you got the firing power at the moment to carry on with that momentum?
I have. You know, as I said, we have people like John Freeman helping us out, which is a major asset. I have such stock. I have such beautiful horses that are still so young. Even though I might have had 198 winners last season, I still have a lot of horses that can go through the divisions. So we are very, very strong. But as I said, the thing is getting those good horses to beat champion horses. Let's say I had a very good sprinting filly. She's got to beat
Via
Africa. So if I've got a brilliant miler 2,000 meter horse, it's got to beat Jackson. So even though I think I've got some very good horses, at the moment in South Africa, I need a superstar. I need a variety club to take on Jackson. I need, this is the level that we're racing at. So I'm going to be looking for more so my 3-year-old crop. I've got some very, very well bred young horses that have got huge potential. I've got a young horse like Legislate. He's a dynasty. He won his last start well. I've got some stunning trippies, Pemba Island Trapeza, all ready to just take the next step.
Well, without specifying what those next steps are necessarily going to be, can we go and have a look at some of these horses?
Yes, of course, no problem.
Great. So Justin, this is Legislate, and how many races he contested so far?
He had a couple of starts up the straight, and then when we put him around the turn, he won very impressively.
200 Legislate, meantime, has kicked for home and has gone a good couple of lengths clear of them. At this stage, they got about 5 to make up with 100 metres left to go. And Legislate is running home, an easy winner, easing up at the line, beats Sidekind to second.
What I like about him, obviously Dynasty's a champion sire, but he only cost 90,000 Rand, which is always nice to know that there's still value. He was meant to go to Singapore. Unfortunately, he was pyro positive, so he'll stick around in South Africa a little bit longer. And if he's really, really good, well, then we'll look for somewhere else to take him. I think he's a horse to follow, and he's called Legislate, and nice horse. This was a horse by High Chaparral. When we bought him, he was very expensive, but in the interim, his sister has come out and won the Coolmore Classic Group 1. So where you had a very expensive horse, his family was unraced. They now are extremely good, and quite honestly, they're trying to buy him back to Australia. But
I mean, he's a valuable horse for stud purposes, what?
Without a doubt, this horse is probably valued close to a million Australian.
I don't think we even mentioned his name.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. Is that what he's called?
We've taken our time with him. But I think he's a horse that's certainly, just to earmark for the future.
Justin, I remember the last time that I was here, probably about 4 years ago, and you took me to a stable over there, and in it was standing the biggest filly I'd seen in a long time, Ebony Flyer, and I believe this is her half-brother.
Yes, that's right. This is Cape Cutter, and he won his last 2 starts quite impressively. He's a horse with a good future.
Cape Cutter hit the front inside the 200, and Cape Cutter's now going on. Eddie Sweat's on the stand side, but it's Cape Cutter lugging towards the inside. That allows CinemaScope to run on, but Cape Cutter's going to win it well. CinemaScope comes out second best.
And it's Cape Cutter hanging tough though over the last 100 metres. Cape Cutter's hanging on from Delaware Bay, and Cape Cutter's going to win it. Delaware Bay second, Gone Baby Gone third, Eternal Jet ran fourth, then Emperor Nyako.
We've just gone a little bit slow with him. He was Shinsel as a 2-year-old, but he's a horse to follow through the season. We'll just go step by step with him.
Justin, the tracks here at Philippi, as far as the training centre is concerned, fairly deep, and your horses probably do a lot more work than they would up on the Highveld, for instance. Does that materially affect the feed you give them?
I'm more worried about the distance that the horses are covering. So yes, in a way, a horse over further ground, I like to not feed as high protein. But I'm very cautious on how we feed, and I'm getting more and more so more involved in when to feed certain different feeds closer to races. Like you would have the Mike de Kock Speed Max, you change closer to a race. Same with any athlete, it's the same, and we change closer to races without a doubt.
Now, does EPA offer you the kind of variety that you require in terms of changing a horse's food regimen?
I think so now, more so than ever, because the Speed Max has made a difference in that it's good for a horse closer to races and things. So the biggest asset to EPOL would be the Millard Cube over years. Without a doubt, in the last decades, Millard Cube has always been the backbone of most trainers' feeding. Now, they have just managed to keep it constant, and that's all a trainer wants, because we work according to what we see in that, but we don't always know what might be in the feed bag. Whereas some feed companies would run out of certain products, they would try and substitute with something else. Whereas EPOL Millard Cube has always been stable. So
it comes through whoever we've interviewed. It's that consistency factor that you're looking for.
And I don't see it changing. And I think that although there will be all these feeds that come along, Epol Molocube will always be the food that you can always banker in your feeding program.
We take time out now, as per usual, to look at our Epol feeding hint of the week.
The microbes in the cecum produce vitamin K, B-complex vitamins, proteins and fatty acids. The reason horses must have their diets changed slowly is so the microbes in the cecum are able to modify and adapt to the different chemical structure of new feedstuffs. Too abrupt a change in diet can cause colic because new materials are not properly digested.
I pulled this filly out because I think she's such a beautiful specimen of a filly. She won a maiden so easily, and then she came out and just got beat after a break. The handicapper they just keep putting weight on her back, but I think she'll win next time out. She's
her name is?
Trapeza. She's a Trippy filly. I have a sneaky feeling about Trippy that he's going to only get better and better. I've got about 6 that are coming out quite soon, Trippies, and I think he's going to go up the stallions log very quickly when those horses come out. So I think we've got a lot to look forward to. He's a young stallion here.
When do you expect your horses to really get into top gear?
My horses are always in top gear. That's why we can have 198 winners a season. There's no break. You must be, in full go all the time. The season's already started. I think we're 6 weeks into the season. We've hardly raced in Cape Town, yet we're top of the national log already. So that's how we like to start, and that's how we like to end. So as I said, I have a good arrangement with my horses. They get what they want, and we just ask for a little bit back. So it seems to work.
Jonathan, Justin always seems to, his mind always seems to be ticking away. It strikes me that you're possibly the calmer of the two.
Yeah, no, I think he's just got a lot on his plate, and he's very similar to my dad. He's looking in every direction, and there's never a moment where he stops and, he's just 24/7, he's on the run.
But you're the more possibly reflective and the strategist?
Yes, there's got to be somebody that calms the storm, and we complement each other well in that respect. Justin's just a grinder, hard worker. You really, I think if you look at the trainers in South Africa, and one of the reasons he's at the top is because no less than hard work. I mean, a lot of the trainers today have got a bit lazy, and he, on the other hand, like my dad, the old school. And my dad brings an amazing sort of another dimension to our team, which is experience, which you can't beat. So there's often, we'll go down an avenue, and he said, well, I've been down there and I know what goes wrong, and don't make the mistake, I've made it, and that helps a hell of a lot. And also bringing a guy like John Freeman into our team, has been a phenomenal asset to us, and since he's been with us, we just keep growing every year, and John and I work well together, and he's become more a family friend than a business partner.
How does it work for you?
Well, I've taken very much a back seat now, and Justin and Jonathan basically run it. I'm here if anything goes wrong. I can be assistant trainer, I can be whatever they need me to.
They seem to rely, however, on your experience and your advice based on things that have happened in the past.
When they take my advice, which is not that often, but when there's something they haven't done before, that I've done, I'll say, well, this is what I did. This is how it worked out for me. You must make your own decision. They're totally different, and they fit very well. Justin has no idea how to run a business, no idea how to save money. Jonathan, on the other hand, is very good at running a business, very good at saving money and looking after it. And so they go like hand in glove, but they are two totally different people.
It must have given you enormous satisfaction just to see how far the team has come along.
Very definitely. Satisfaction isn't the word I would use. Amazement, maybe, and I'm extremely proud. I can't tell you how proud. I mean, what they achieved last year, I wouldn't have thought possible. I mean, nobody's got anywhere near 200 winners ever, and they nearly cracked it. But I could never have seen it happening. I'm amazed.
That interview with the Justin Snaith stable team was recorded about 6 weeks ago, since which time they've consolidated their position at the top of the trainers' log with over 40 winners and a little more than R2 million in stakes. Join us again in a fortnight's time when we'll be chatting to veteran Cape trainer Eric Sands. In the meantime, you can keep up with what's been happening on Stable Talk by going to our page on Facebook.